Hello! Today I'm going to be talking about how I make my art, the art that I put on metal, and how I make specifically this kind of one. So first I'd start out with prepping the piece. Prepping the piece means putting a light coat of varnish, well, a couple coats, more like 3. If you don't put enough varnish, you can end up with rust spots through your art piece. So this is what it would look like if you don't prep a piece. This was cut off, that's why you can see so many lines through it. All the paint that was on this was cut off and removed. This was before I started using varnish as a prep piece. To prep my art, not prep piece. To prep my art. Because before I would use like large amounts of glue, wait till it completely set, and then paint on it, and it was very difficult to do. So a piece that you wouldn't have to prep is aluminum, stuff like this. A sheet of aluminum, this is the good side to this. If I peel off this side, this is a protective layer. It's super shiny, really smooth. I'm keeping that on until I decide to paint it or not. All my pieces are scrap metal. They're all scrap pieces. They were being thrown away, so I took them. I asked if I could have them. They said yes, and I took them. So they don't have really nice edges. Like here, not super nice. Here, not super nice. But this is cut out by a laser. This is cut out by a press. So the press cuts out like this, comes down like that. A laser will take a little joint inside here. It'll make a little hole, come out, make a nice circle, come back, and lift. So it'll go in like this being the laser, come down, go right here, it'll come down, go out, make the circle, come back in, pull out. That's how the laser would work. That's how you get these nice, really good circle edges. It's very smooth. So some of my pieces I actually asked to have grinded off. So there's rust on here. There'd be like this part, which is really sharp sometimes, and you get snagged on clothes. I'd ask them if they could grind this off for me. They used to grind it off for me. No problem. This piece has the little snag still. So I'd get that grinded off usually. And pretty much what I'd do is, this one I did recently. I did this today actually. It's not dry. So I put down 3 colors and I mixed them directly on here with a wooden skewer, going back and forth, lifting up the paint, back and forth, mixing it. And then I did a bunch of lines to make the kind of lined pattern on it. And I'd put that to dry. It takes hours. So I'm going to talk about how I made the background on this. The background was really simple, similar to how I make almost all my pieces. All my pieces have gradient backgrounds. Almost every single one has a gradient background. It's not focusing very often. Almost every single piece of mine has a gradient background, and it almost always has a silhouette. I prefer silhouettes. Very few pieces of mine are done in color, paint-wise. But recently, I've been doing more color. But majority of my paints before was really bright, colorful background, silhouette image. Recently, I've been doing more color and putting color into my pieces, and I want to recreate a couple of my old pieces in color. This piece in particular, how I made it, and how I make most of my pieces, is 3 color gradients. I'll do a single dot of white in this case, a single dot or couple dots of a light pink here, and a darker pinkish purple here. Then I would take a very kind of damaged brush and start out with the dark color, poke it a bunch of times. It does get that kind of prickly kind of look. Poke it a lot, wash my brush, come back with the lighter color, poke it a bunch of times, wash it again, and go for my light color. Poke it all around, making sure not to go in this too much because I am using white. White gets, I guess you could say, contaminated very easily. And I just hit it a bunch of times. For me, it was okay if I hit here too many times because I was covering it up with black. Next is how I made this black piece. The black piece was the hardest part of my picture. It was not painted directly on. If you can see here, you can see the outline of each piece. If this was painted on, you wouldn't be able to see the outline. It would just directly see it. Just shine all the way through. Only seeing the ripples because that's where the paint was. So the way I did this is I took a piece of paper, I drew out my design that I wanted, cut it out with a pair of scissors and an X-Acto blade to get these small intricate parts. Very tiny parts like between the legs. I used an X-Acto knife for that. And cut out with scissors around this grass and the trees. And then I painted it black. Then I put a coat of liquid varnish and stuck it on. Using tweezers, I lifted and smoothed out until I got a completely smooth piece. Obviously, not everything is smooth. You can see little ripples here, little folds in some places. And then I'd put an entire coat of varnish very, very gently over the top of this because it was very fragile because it is just a piece of paper under varnish. And I'd let it sit and dry for a couple hours just to make sure it's completely set. Then I'd put another coat of varnish on top. I'd put 3-4 layers because I want to make sure this stays good and it doesn't crack or anything. If someone had dropped it by accident, I was hoping for that. And this could sit outside. If I really wanted it to, it could sit outside. I'd have to put more varnish, of course. That's what I wanted. That's why I put so many coats of varnish to start. Then I'd paint the back black, or if I was doing a colored piece, which I start doing now, I'd paint the back the most dominant color, or continue my gradient onto the back. But I didn't do it for this piece because I didn't want to, because majority of it is black, and as it is, it was hard. I painted it black on the back, and then I would typically varnish it, then sign my name, put the date, and whatever written message someone would want on it. And then I would sell this and give it to my customer, because typically I'd get custom orders or just get a regular piece. It'd just have my name on it at the back. Then I'd sell it and start a new piece. If you put too much paint, it can get cracked like it hits here. It's okay that it's cracked on this piece because I'm going for a very intricate design on it. And I'm going to put a lot of varnish. You can for sure probably see the cracks in the end. You most definitely, but not many people will notice it. Mostly it's the artist who notices it, or people who have really keen eyes for art. They would notice this. So if you're a perfectionist or have a really keen eye in art, don't give this to them. Unless it's just a thought that counts, that someone will be more than happy to take the piece of art that you had given them. My second piece, this also has cracks, but you can't really see them as much because I'm using a darker color and it fits with the design. This, even though the cracks are straight and my lines are straight, you can see them because I used really light color. It's a very light turquoise color. You can still see green in some parts. That's why you can still see the cracks, even though it's lined art itself. One thing that you don't want to do while prepping it, well, not prepping it, prepping the finished piece. So your finished piece will look super shiny and you can touch it and it's dry. You don't leave fingerprints. That's really good. But you cannot whatsoever put it face down within the first 24 hours after prepping it. Well, more like first 4 hours, but I always used to wait an entire day just to be 100% sure. Because if you put it down like this for a long period of time to wait for the back to dry, because I usually put really thick glob of paint on the back for the black, because I didn't want the rest, because I won't prep the back. So you would pick up whatever's on your table, anything of ink transfer like newspaper, or in my case paint that's on my desk, because I have paint on my desk because I don't really clean up very much. You'd get it on this, and your beautiful design just went to waste because it picked up everything that's on your desk. And then this would be absolutely useless with all your name and everything on it, contact information. You just have a ruined piece of art with all your hard work gone to waste. And that would be really sad. So always be careful when doing that. I'm not sure how it works with spray varnish if that happens. I'm pretty sure it does, because on the cans, at least the ones I have, it says wait 4 hours before touching it. I do wait 4 hours. Not always, but I do wait. I don't know if it's the same for this. I just usually wait for it to dry and I'll touch it because I use liquid varnish. And then I'd let it dry and I'd sit and wait, and I'd just wait for a really long time just to make sure it's completely dry and completely done. Right now, wrong piece. Right now, I'm doing these. These are also steel, just old scrap steel. And I'm gonna paint them and make them look pretty, and hopefully I can put them out in the garden, or I can sell them to someone, or just have some really pretty art in my room. That's all, really. Main focus was this, and I don't know how well this video does. If you'd like to see more of my content, I guess you'd say so. Give it a like or whatever people say. If this is going on Instagram, tell me in comments or whatever that you like what I made, and I'll make more. And if this actually does help information wise, or if you have requests for me to tell you how I make my digital art, I can try my best to. I do make it on my phone, and I'm filming this on my phone, so it'd be pretty difficult how I make my digital art. I do paint statues as well. I can not teach exactly, you can't really teach art, you can just give tips. I can tell you how I make that, how I mix my colors, do whatever. If you would like to see more, comment, say so, give it a like or whatever. Or you can follow my Instagram account, artist_party. I post all the kinds of art that I do, including digital, repaints, this, and as well as I made a mailbox recently. That's pretty cool. I think it's really cool, and I definitely think a lot of people think it's cool, so I suggest checking that out. And that's all, really. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have fun. I don't know. Enjoy art.